To our viewers in Nigeria and across the world, Lunchtime Politics begins right now. You have nothing to prove, Labour Party tells INEC as a presidential election petition court adjourns sitting over absence of the electoral umpire's witness. Well, residents of flood-hit Trademore estate in Abuja have shut down the estate ahead of the planned demolition of buildings by officials of the Federal Capital Authority. And the Anambra South Senatorial Zone cancels sit-at-home order, citing collapse of economic activities over the past 2 years. As Senator Fayuba asks agitators to leave Anambra out of their orders. Welcome to the program. The presidential election petition court resumed sitting in the nation's capital, Abuja, today. Now that the petitioners have had their day in court, it is time for the respondents, that's INEC, APC, and President Tinubu, to open their defense in the petitions of the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party, who are challenging the victory of President Bola Tinubu. Well, the Independent National Electoral Commission began by calling 3 witnesses in the Labour Party's petition. However, counsel to INEC, Mr. Abubakar Mahmood, told the court that their first defense witness was unavailable due to domestic urgency. Well, he asked the court, the case be adjourned to tomorrow, that's July the 4th, a request which was not opposed by counsels to the Labour Party, the APC, and President Tinubu. Present in court, as you may have seen, is the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Dati Baba Ahmed. Meanwhile, Labour Party's lawyer, Mr. Livio Zoku, while reacting to the adjournment, says that INEC has nothing to prove. Well, the court has now risen to reconvene at 2 p.m., this time for the defense to open its case in the petition of the People's Democratic Party. Stay with Channels Television as we are live there to bring you all the updates as they come in. But staying in the nation's capital, Abuja, well, President Bola Tinubu is back to work after the Eid holidays, most of which he spent in Lagos and Ogun State. Well, the president's plane touched down at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, where he was welcomed by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, service chiefs, including the Inspector General of Police, amongst others. Well, the president spent 5 days in Lagos observing the holidays. Now there's a major situation playing out at Trademore Estate in Abuja, where residents of the area have kicked against plans by officials of the Federal Capital Development Authority to demolish part of the estate believed to be responsible for the spate of flooding in that area. Well, at a press conference, the spokesperson of the estate, Mr. Adewale Adenaike, says the option of demolition is not the solution to flooding in the estate, and asked authorities of the FCDA to rather implement the engineering solutions already suggested by the estate authorities. He also refuted claims by the FCDA authorities that the estate is illegal.
Part of Trademore Estate was commissioned by the federal government of Nigeria. Where is the illegality? That is the question we are asking the government. Trademore Estate is not a disaster zone.
Yes!
Yes. Rather, what we have is a leadership disaster in FCDA, who are too shy to think, who are unable to carry out their primary responsibilities. The person who declared this estate a disaster zone is the permanent secretary of FCDA. And he did not even enter the estate. He did not carry out any investigation. He came with a crew of about 20 Lexus Jeeps and Hiluxes. As soon as it started raining, he ran away. He ran away. We have the videos, we have the evidences. He ran away. And on arrival in his office, he called you, the pressman, and said, this is a disaster zone. Whereas he's the creator of the disaster. What we need is the implementation of the already provided solutions to the flooding. Not the easy blame game that the FCT administration is trying to play here.
Well, let's move on now, but we'll get the side of the government to all of those issues raised by the residents in that area. We expect to be joined by a director at the Federal Capital Territory Administration during the course of the program. It's a major developing story right there at Trademore Estate. But let's bring you more now. The federal government is rejecting the European Union's election observation mission's conclusion on the 2023 general elections. Well, the presidency, in its appraisal of the EU report, which concluded that the elections did not ensure a well-run, transparent and inclusive democratic process, explains that the 2023 general elections, given all parameters, were free, fair, peaceful and won by President Bola Tinubu. Well, the government says there is no substantial evidence provided by the mission or any foreign and local organization that is viable enough to impeach the integrity of the 2023 election outcomes. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Communication, Mr. Dele Alake, reads in part, now that the organization has submitted what it claims to be its final report on the elections, we can now categorically let Nigerians and the entire world know that we were not unaware of the machinations of the European Union to sustain what it described as its largely unfounded bias and claims on the outcomes or the election outcomes. That is, the government insists that Nigeria, as a sovereign state, knows how to organize itself, adding that the EU EOM's final report on Nigeria's recent elections is a product of a poorly done desk job that relied heavily on few instances of skirmishes in less than 1,000 polling units out of over 176,000 where Nigerians voted on election day. Another part of the statement reads, unlike EU EOM that deployed fewer than 50 observers, the Nigerian Bar Association that sent out over 1,000 observers spread across the entire country for same election gave a more holistic and accurate assessment of the elections in their own report. Well, elsewhere, the Bishop of Sokoto Catholic Diocese, Matthew Hassan Kuka, is calling on the federal government to enforce the provision of freedom of religion and worship as enshrined in the nation's constitution and other laws of the land by providing adherents of different faiths in the country with places of worship in the various federal government establishments across the nation. Well, the bishop, who spoke to journalists shortly after the inaugural mass at the Catholic chaplaincy of the 119 Composite Group of the Nigeria Air Force, Sokoto, emphasized the importance of these places of worship that enable personnel to freely practice their religion.
It should be federal government law that everywhere there's federal government presence, universities, polytechnics, hospitals, federal medical centers, army formations, there should be, and there has always been since the early 70s, a Catholic church, Protestant church, and a mosque. But in many parts of Nigeria, this is not lived according to the law, which is why it has taken us, this is the first time we're gathering here now to celebrate the Holy Mass. I took up this conversation with the former Chief of Air Staff, and he did make us a promise. So this is not It's actually by not making these facilities available, all the federal universities, all the federal hospitals, all the federal government formations everywhere in Nigeria are in breach of the law. They are in breach of the spirit of the Constitution that allows Christians, Muslims, believers to practice their faith. But in many places, especially in northern Nigeria, this has not been. So I would like to call on the federal government, because it's a question of enforcement. The provisions are there. Every federal university has provision for the building of a church, the building of a mosque, building of... So this is nothing new. And our rights are enshrined in the Constitution. We shouldn't be begging for those rights to be enforced.
We'll go on a quick break now, and when we return, we'll bring you the situation in the southeast, as Newi says that it will not be following through with that sit-at-home order. We have Senator Fayuba joining us in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Let's talk Southeast security now. And in line with Professor Chukwuma Soludo's appeal to the people of Anambra State to shun the mandate sit-at-home order by non-state actors, the people of Anambra South Zone have announced an end to the mandate sit-at-home order, starting with Newi, the industrial capital of the state. Well, in a stakeholders meeting at Newi, the senator representing Anambra South Senator of Zone, Senator Fayuba, alongside vigilante services in the area, security experts, and the people of the zone agreed on the decision, noting that the sit-at-home order observed for about 2 years now has shut down businesses. They were speaking at an event where Senator Uba donated security equipment to the security and vigilante organizations, as he also disclosed that efforts and discussions are ongoing to secure Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's release. Now, joining us for more on this is Senator Fayuba, who's a senator representing Anambra South Senatorial Zone. He joins us virtually on the program this afternoon. Good afternoon, Senator, and thank you for joining us on Lunchtime Politics. I'll just get right into it. We've heard several leaders in the Southeast condemn and even declare an end to the sit-at-home order. And I know a lot of people will be wondering that, how is this different this time around?
Okay, good afternoon. We have observed the sit-at-home for nearly 2 years now. And then every Monday, all business activities in our area, in our state, is polarized. So because of that, we have come to a conclusion by the stakeholders of my senatorial district that it's time for us to open our businesses on Monday. Some people who are not residents of in our zone or even in the country have used this sit-at-home they use it to create fear in people, and at the same time making money, and at the same time, impoverishing our people. It is time for us to move on. Schools are virtually closed every Monday in the whole of this state, and I think, and the world is moving on. So if the world is moving on, and almost every part of the country is moving on, and we won't be going, our children will not be going to school, our businesses are closed, and we are losing a very serious economy. So that is the essence of being elected, and then to serve our people, and then to look at what is good for our people. And they are using the detention of Nnamdi Kanu as their excuse. But I think what we need is constructive engagement with the federal government on the release of our brother Nnamdi Kanu. But using that as an opportunity to paralyze the activities of the Southeast, to me, is totally unacceptable. Henceforth.
One can only imagine the effect of this sit-at-home order over the past 2 years, knowing just how industrious you know, the enterprise of the people of the Southeast and not having to go to work every Monday. One can only imagine. But you've said 2 years now, and I wonder, why has it been
Yeah, if you look
difficult
at the
to get a
promoters
handle on this for the past 2 years? Why has it been difficult to curb this?
of Simon going about his businesses on Monday, he has no investment in the whole of Southeast. He cannot point any investment he has done, but he has used this, you know, to keep people in perpetual fear, and at the same time, you know, cashing in and using it to siphon money from different stakeholders. So for me, we are sensitizing our people because the fear has eaten deep into our people. And as you can see, we're just heading towards a point where I can show you the mammoth of crowd that is participating just from one local government alone, you know, and people are agitating. People are not happy anymore. And it's time everybody, because nobody can speak for us. So it is time for us to come boldly and speak out, so that the federal government, the state government, you know, all security agencies can support our movement, you know.
We'll get into the support from state government and the federal government, because I imagine it will be key. Understanding that you are a senator, you don't have powers to order security agencies and all of that. So how do you really plan to implement this, Senator Oba?
If you can look at all the movement of people, you know, you can appreciate the level of cooperation we are having, the level of commitment everybody's having, you know, joining the movement, you know. So this is one of the reasons for everyone to know that the entire local government is poised to stop the sit at home henceforth.
All right, my question particularly to you is how you plan to really give people the confidence to come out and do business without fear of being attacked or victimized. So what is the plan to percolate this new position?
Well, one of the essence of what we are doing is we are networking. We have networked the entire communities. We have networked the entire communities. We have a lot of walkie-talkie. We have a lot of walkie-talkie in the system. And it's always about sensitization, because the agitator has eaten deep into our people.
I know that a lot of people remember that shocking and sad attack on you last year. It took a lot of people by surprise, and I don't know if you've even gotten over that attack. So for those who are still aligned to this group, those who strongly believe in the cause of the non-state actors, what is your message to them, Senator?
Well, it's life, and when we are in life, you know, challenges comes. For me, I believe what happened to me was an eye-opener, which by the grace of God, the security forces have done. They are doing the investigation, and so many things have really unfolded. I cannot divulge information on that. But for me, life moves on, and I continue to thank God for His grace upon my life, and then we continue to move on. That is what I can say for now on that.
The other part of my question is what you have to say to members of your community, the Southeast at large, who are still aligned with the non-state actors, who have some sort of sympathy for them. What message do you have to those people?
Well, for me, every act of terror must always end in one day, and we are more in number, and the people are not, any program that is not people-oriented will be challenged or will be rejected by the people. So it's also about what the people want for us. We are elected to serve the people. Whatever they want, we'll do. And that's all I can say for now.
Well, Senator, I know you have a busy day ahead of you, but I must really commend you for being brave, even showing us live pictures from that community. We'd like to thank you so much for your time. And we wish you the very best, and we wish the Southeast peace and, of course, kick-starting of economic activities. Senator Fanyuba, a senator representing Anambra South Senatorial Zone, has been speaking to us, even showing us live images from his community to put an end to that sit-at-home order. Well, let's switch gears now and bring you the side of the government in the Trademore estate impasse. We understand that the FCT Development Authority has marked some buildings for demolition. And as we saw earlier, the people of the estate came out to protest, saying that, well, they will not have it. And they asked governments to look for an alternative rather than demolishing buildings. So we've since been joined on the program by Mr. Mukhtar Galadima, who is the Director of Development Control at the Federal Capital Territory Administration. He also joins us virtually. Good afternoon, Mr. Galadima. Thank you for joining us on Lunchtime Politics. Mr. Galadima, if you could just unmute your mic.
Yeah, good afternoon, my host.
Oh, great.
I did that.
Oh, yes, we can hear you loud and clear now. So tell us, a lot of people were shocked when they saw the report and that statement that Trademore Estate does not have an approved building plan. Can you confirm, is that indeed the case?
Yes.
So how is it that an estate as big as that, as prominent as that, does not have an approved building plan as is being claimed now? How is that even possible?
Well, it has happened. You know, so many things went wrong in the past. And it's not only Trademore. There was this Minanual estate built by the same developer. The Minanual estate was removed completely, situated along the airport road. And the move was made to go and remove the Trademore, even at a development stage. Then intervention from above stopped the work. Development control could not do anything. Even the security attached to the department were withdrawn. So that's why we couldn't remove the estate. But you see, this is something that time judges everything. Because if proper planning was done, approval granted, we couldn't have allowed that development on that particular corridor. And you see, the action taken by the authority now is that of responsiveness and responsibility, because it is unfair on the part of the resident as well as on the part of the administration to just cross the fingers watching disasters happening year in, year out. So the action taken so far is to declare the place as disaster zone. Then what action are we going to take next is what the residents should just give us a listening ear and time so that we can take decision what action to be taken next. And that action could be kinetic or non-kinetic, because some of the structures have been mapped already. And you could also attest to the fact that during the last flood, you could see that some of the houses were, in fact, the roofs were covered by water. So as a result, we can sit down and watch. Things are happening wrongly, and then we just keep quiet. So this is my submission so far.
Okay. Mr. Galadima, help us understand this. Help us put a timeline. For how long has Trademore Estate been in existence?
Trademore has been in existence, I think, sometime 2008.
So 2008 up until this moment, that's about, what, 14, 15 years, if I'm correct. So you're saying the government watched the estate spring, flourish, people building houses, moving in and moving out for 15 years, and now the government is coming out to say there was no approved plan.
No. At a point in time, there were some moves to integrate the development, but that I don't think has been completed because there is a responsible agency that was to consider and integrate the development, but it has not been done. But you see, all this while that we've been talking, I wanted, where's the developer of Trademore?
I think the government should. I think the government should be telling us. Are you in contact with the developer?
No.
Are you speaking? Do you know where the developer is?
All this thing that we've been saying, it is the resident association, which I expected the developer to come out and say, okay, I have my title, I have my approvals. Even last year, we removed structures. We continue removing structure, but we cannot just be removing like that without what is the root cause, what is the best design solution to this, what is the best solution to this problem. So that's what we are doing now.
So when you said earlier, Mr. Galadima, that there was an intervention from above, the order from above that stopped the FCT authority from taking action, was it from the president? Was it from the FCT minister? Who gave that order, or at least intervened, such that the right thing was not done? Mr. Galadima, can you hear me? Okay, I understand that Mr. Galadima's connection is frozen, but we'll try to get him back to get those answers to those very important questions. Mr. Galadima, can you hear me now? All right, looks like we've lost connection with him, but we'll stay on this, get him back to shed more light on this situation, particularly what will be done now. Will the government be going ahead? But we've been speaking with Mr. Mukhtar Galadima, who's Director of Development Control at the Federal Capital Territory Administration. That's the FCDA. Let's head over to Taraba State now, where the Catholic Church and residents of Southern Central District of the state are lamenting the deterioration of security and the wanton destruction of lives and property by yet to be identified people in the area. At a meeting led by the Catholic Bishop of Wukari Diocese, as the Most Reverend Mark Zukwain, which was held in Takum local government area of the state, the forum warned against what it called stereotyping, ethnic bigotry, and urged that elites should close ranks to end what it described as a carnage. With stakeholders from the most affected local government areas of Takum, Musa, and Yangtu special development areas attended the meeting. And that's where we leave it on the program this afternoon. But stay with Channels Television. We're still keeping our eyes on the situation in Trademore State, the president election petitions court, and other major stories that will be breaking today. I'm Kaido Wikilu. Goodbye.